Welcome to Unstoppable Real Estate Investing Wealth. My name is Billy Alvaro, aka the Unstoppable BA, former billion-dollar mortgage banker, gone bankrupt, turned professional real estate investor. Where each week you'll learn the tools, strategies, systems, and secrets myself and other highly successful real estate investing entrepreneurs use to start, grow, and scale their businesses, creating massive profits, and how you can too. And we'll teach you how to put those profits to work so you no longer have to. Get ready to finally experience financial freedom and generational wealth. Now let's get started. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another killer episode of Unstoppable REI Wealth. I'm your host, the Unstoppable BA. And if you want to learn, partner, or invest, remember, hit me up at billyalvaro.com. We've been partnering up with a lot of people in New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Pennsylvania. We're doing deals. We're fixing, flipping, wholesaling. We're doing partners on rentals. We're also getting a lot of people who want to invest money, put their money to work, so one day they no longer have to. We're paying a 10% straight simple interest. If you're interested in that, go to billyalvaro.com, fill out the form, and check me out. Now, today, this is going to be a good interview for me because we're going to be talking about a topic on how I got started. So I'm going to have a lot of passion talking about this because when I started, I was flat broke. I'm bringing today Zack Boothe from the great old state of Utah. A lot of investors in Utah. And Zack is a freaking expert in going out there and finding properties, driving for dollars. And Zack, you did a pretty freaking cool challenge that I want to get into because it kind of blew my mind beforehand. I read your bio and you told me about it on how you went to a new area, $1,000, and how you brought in like a shit ton of money. So Zack, welcome to the show, buddy.
Well, thanks. Thanks for the intro, man. It's good to be here.
Yeah. You're a young stud. So how old are you, buddy?
I am 33. I forgot for a second. 33, yeah.
And how long have you been doing the real estate investing for?
I bought my first house as a duplex back in 2012. So I think I was like 23, 22, somewhere around there. So
young,
about
bro.
10. Yeah, I was real young. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad when I was 14. Started my first business actually when I was 17 years old. Got my business license insured, bonded, all that on my 18th birthday because I didn't need someone to sign for me then. I had employees. I wrote my own work release hours my senior year. I quit playing high school basketball so I could be an entrepreneur. But I got the bug early and it really helped me. Yeah.
So your mom and dad, anybody in your immediate family entrepreneurs or your extended family?
The only one is my uncle. And the funny thing is he's the one I called. I was like, hey, uncle, I want to start a little business. Like, have you ever heard of window cleaning? He's like, oh yeah, I did that all the time, And so that's what I started, And my uncle always told me, he said, Zack, you got to earn and learn, young man. You got to earn and learn.
I love it.
So I'm actually going to Alaska fishing with him next week. I love that.
That's going to be a great trip, man. A lot of my friends went up there fishing. I went up to Maine a few years back, did the fishing trip for salmon. It was a blast. Absolute blast. But Zack, let me ask you this, and this has nothing to do with real estate investing. This has to do with entrepreneurship. Do you think that entrepreneurs could be made, or do you think they kind of come out of the womb with that certain talent?
No, I 100% made. I believe it's 100% made. I'm a big believer that you develop who you are. You develop your character. And I believe that there's opportunities, luck, situations that breed this pain or hunger in people. I look at the way I was raised. My dad cut me off financially at 16 years old. Best thing he ever did for me.
Yeah, man.
And I was working, he put me to work at 11 years old. We had a lawn mowing business. My dad, I didn't grow up rich at all. So my dad was working, my mom was waiting tables. And then we had a lawn mowing business that me and my brothers would work after school. And, and I started when I was 11. So I was mowing lawns and running crews till I was 15. And, I knew how to run sprinkler clocks and which properties we did the weeding and which ones we just did the mowing. I was in charge of like 30, 40 lawns by the time I was 15. I couldn't drive, but I told the driver where to go, So like my dad put me to work. Like there was no slackers in my house. My dad was raised rough. His dad was an alcoholic and gambler, stepdad, Korean War vet, super, hard on him. He had to beg food from his neighbors to feed his siblings when he was young. My dad had a rough upbringing. And so it was his way or the highway. We were kind of afraid of him. He's this big old teddy bear now, but when we were kids, it was pretty tough. And so when I was 15, I kind of quit doing the family business, started framing houses, doing finished carpentry, and I was making like $6-7 an hour and working my butt off. But then my dad cut me off financially at 16, and I was like, okay, well, I got to quit trading time for money because this ain't working. Right. Like I had to pay insurance. I had to pay for, I wanted to play basketball. I wanted to go on dates. My dad gave me $200 a year for clothing. I didn't have to pay for housing and food, but I paid for everything else. And so,
taught you a lot of lessons, I'm sure.
Oh,
man.
so much. He wouldn't even co-sign a loan to buy a truck.
Yeah.
So he's like, if you want a truck, get the cash. I was like, oh crap. Yeah. So I went to Nova Scotia, Canada, my junior year summer. I worked 80-hour work weeks over the summer doing landscaping and taking care of a property. It was absolutely horrible, hard labor, building retaining walls, throwing sod, worked my tail off, and I made about $8,000-9,000, bought my first truck cash and all the equipment, started my first business. And I had no clue what I was doing. I had no idea how to wash a window. I had no idea. I had to call someone in the Yellow Pages and be like, hey, my dad wants a bid for his windows, to figure out how much to charge people. Right. Yeah. And I was so out of money that I didn't have money to put gas in my truck. So I walked from my parents' house to the closest wealthy neighborhood and went door to door to get my first clients, and then walked back to my house, got my truck, drove there, did the cleaning, got the cash, and then went to the gas station. Right. Like I had to hustle. There was no other option if I wanted something in life. And so that started that fire in me. I think that, Tony Robbins talks about it all the time. He said, pain is the biggest motivator. Right? Pain is the biggest motivator. And sometimes that pain might be, we're not happy with where we are. Sometimes we don't feel like we are taking care of ourselves or our families in the way that we want to, but you have to find that reason inside of you to be uncomfortable, right? Because the pain of being an entrepreneur is painful. It's hard, but the pain of not being successful has to be more painful than doing the work.
I agree. And it's funny because we have a lot of similarities, right? Like grew up, my dad had 3 jobs. One of them was lawn maintenance, landscaping company, yep. 10, 11, 12 years old, worked with him, did the whole thing. One of the things I'm going to respectfully disagree with is I don't necessarily think that entrepreneurs are made. I think that everybody has a certain talent, like, basketball players, football players. There's certain people that they have this talent where if it's brought out in them, they can rise and shine. I don't personally think that everybody out there has the mental acumen or the drive to actually become a successful entrepreneur. I think that they come out of the womb, they might not know that they have this ability to do something. Your dad was the greatest gift he gave you, was to force your ass to go to work and cut you off. So you kind of like that entrepreneur spirit on the inside sparked, just like it would, you were playing basketball. Like you knew you had this ability to play. The more you practice, the better you got. It's the same thing with entrepreneurship. There's a lot of guys and girls out there who they want to do certain things in life, but they just don't have, and this isn't, I'm not putting them down. They just don't have the full package to be a true entrepreneur. They might be a great second in command. They might be a great manager. They might be a great person, an employee to fill a spot. But I don't know. I think entrepreneurs, man, I think they're come out of the womb, and over time they're developed through what you went through, what I went through. If you have that drive, that ability to learn, to grow, to desire, all of a sudden you start to become this massive entrepreneur. But there's a lot of guys I know that want to do great things, but they just don't have the abilities to make it happen. They could do okay, but they don't have that ability to be the full package, to grow a company, to understand finance, do marketing, do sales. So I don't know. I mean, look, everybody has a different view, but I'll tell you a couple of things that
I think it's great. I think it's great that we don't necessarily agree on all things. And I think that's the beauty of this world. And I think the audience, like, this is a great discussion, and I'm sure the audience would want to chime in on what their perspectives are. Right. Yeah. Like, I mean, we could do a whole show just on that topic, man. Like that's a big one. 'Cause I'm pretty passionate one way and it sounds like you're passionate the other. So
for sure. And I'll tell you a couple of things that I did pick out. What you said is your drive. And you need this as an entrepreneur. You were driven. You had a vision. You didn't know what you didn't know. You had no idea about how to go out and do this window business, but that didn't stop you. Yeah. It wasn't something that put a block in your way. It was actually a catalyst to I'm going to call it elephantitis in the testicles, to go out there and put your balls on the table and say, look, I'm going to figure this shit out. I'm going to do whatever it takes to go out there and make something happen, regardless if I don't know what the hell I don't know. So congratulations to you, bro. You did some great things. I want to now get into like what you're doing. So you're a real estate investor. get into that whole space. You're focusing in the Utah area, and I think Tampa as well, on wholesaling, correct?
Yeah. So I'm not necessarily in Tampa anymore. I did a bunch of deals there just for the challenge. I had never even been there when I chose that place. The 40-day challenge, the whole goal is take $1,000, turn it into a 40 grand in just 40 days. Right. And the goal is do driving for dollars, drive around, find ugly houses, find someone that wanted to sell for speed and convenience over price, and pass the opportunity onto a flipper for a fee.
Wait, I want to reverse. So you had this whole 40-day challenge thing. Did you actually fly out to Tampa?
Yeah, I did, because I didn't want to be where I was, because the whole purpose of this is to show people that I'm no one special, and if I can do it, they can do it. I have some work ethic, but I'm really not the smartest guy. I always had these limiting beliefs. That's why I believe everyone can be an entrepreneur, because I always told myself I was stupid. Right? I always told myself that I wasn't good enough to be an entrepreneur. I always said I'm always just going to be a broke window cleaner. And Tom Kroll changed my life. Tom Kroll and Tony Robbins changed my life and got rid of those limiting beliefs. And I believed in myself, and it changed everything. I went from making like $50,000 a year to I make well over that per month. Right. And it changed.
Tommy's a super guy, by the way.
Tom Kroll is my hero. He's my hero. Right. I tell him all the time. I talked to him yesterday. Love the guy. Right. He's my hero.
He's a good human being, for sure.
He is. So, I flew out to Tampa because it's like, okay, well, if I do this challenge and document it, and the whole goal is to show people they can do it, to see exactly what it takes and how it's done, right? To give people that belief. Because if people believe that they don't have what it takes to be an entrepreneur, if they don't believe they can do it, they're not going to give 110%. Because if you don't believe, why would you even try? So I wanted to give them that belief. I wanted to give them that gift, because if they could believe, they would give 110%. They give 110%, they will get results. When they get results, they'll be like, see, I knew I had what it took. See, I knew I was the guy. Mm-hmm. And they'll spiral upwards in life. And Tom Kroll gave that to me. And I had a guy that I met that I was washing windows for that gave me 2 properties at a massive discount, super wealthy developer. And I was like, holy crap, you can get a deal of a lifetime. It exists, right? And Tom showed me that it can be done every single week if you want it to. Right. And so I wanted to give that gift to other people. And I was like, I just got to show them. They got to see it happening in real, in real life. And so I had a film crew follow me. I couldn't do it where I lived because they would be like, oh, he's got his connections. He's already established. He has a team. He knows his market. He knows stuff that I don't know. And it's like, okay, well, I got to go somewhere I'd never even been. And I picked Tampa because it was warm and it was wintertime. Literally, that was the criteria. Come to find out that it was probably one of the hardest markets to do this because it's extremely competitive.
As competitive as Arizona, tough market.
Yeah. So the funny thing is I was talking to a digital marketer and he was talking about the price per click for PPC for like key terms like sell my house fast. Right. Tampa's number 1, Utah's number 2. So according to PPC, I'm the 2 most competitive markets in the country and I'm doing this, right? So I fly to Tampa with a goal to make 40 grand in 40 days, just starting with $1,000 and have a film crew and document it. So that was why I did it, was to show people that they can do it. Not to be like, hey, look at me, look what I can do, but to give them the tools and belief that they can do it.
Of course. So now let's talk about what did you do? What was the outcome of that challenge?
Yeah. So the overall outcome is I was terrified I was going to fail, first of all. And I was nervous. I told everyone about it before I went. I talked about it on podcasts. I'm like, I'm going to put it out there. So I have all this emotional pressure to either succeed or fail. And I'm like, I'm going to put it out there even if I fail, because I want people to see that, even if I don't do a deal, they see the action steps and I know that I'm successful. And if they don't see value in me failing, then whatever, right? I was like, I'm going for it. But I ended up doing really well. I got 7 properties under contract. 3 of those 7 properties I wholesaled. What that means for the audience that's not very clear on this is I put the properties under contract and then I sold the purchase contract to a different investor. They closed on the property and I got an assignment fee. And so the first wholesale deal I did, I made $10,000. The second I made $30,000, and the last one I made $53,000. So overall, I made $93,000 cash in wholesale fees.
Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, I was blown away. Honestly, I was humbled. I was grateful. I prayed before I went. I don't know what your guys' beliefs are. Maybe it was just sheer determination and hustle that got me there. Maybe there was the big man wanting me to help people. But I believe that there was some special moments. I got pretty emotional on day 4. I met a guy named Jerry who was dying of cancer. Fell in love with him. I even had him on my own podcast, and he sold me 3 properties. But and then I ended up getting 2 more properties that I kept as rentals with over 100,000 in equity. I bought them for like 110,000. They're worth like 210.
So Zach, I want to go through the mechanics, through the tactics of what you actually did. You fly out there, you rent a car. Did you have a certain area inside Tampa that you were going to start driving for dollars? Like, take us through. And I know people can go to your video thing and watch this, but I just want to give them a taste of what you actually did on this podcast.
So I stayed in Brandon. This is where the Airbnbs were cheap. So like there wasn't a lot of strategy here. It's like, I just need to show up because I'll find deals, right? Like, that's how confident I was in my process. So I showed up, I stayed in Brandon, and it was, I wanted like outskirts of the main metropolitan area. So if you guys know Tampa, you've got Tampa, and then you got the peninsula called St. Pete, and those are really busy, and I didn't want to get stuck in traffic, and I wanted outskirts, suburb, like median house price and lower, people that were commuting to the city for work. I find that you're going to find most of your deals in those areas, instead of like the higher inflated main central hubs of your big cities. So I picked Brandon because Brandon, I could go out to like Lake Wells and, down south of there. It was just close to the freeways. I was like, all right, that's a good centered location. I chose that area, and I downloaded an app called Deal Machine. So Deal Machine is, most people know of driving for dollars, at least how I started. You write down the addresses of ugly houses, look it up on county records, get their information, pay for skip tracing to get phone numbers. It takes forever to build a list. Right. But with Deal Machine, they have a version that I helped them develop, which is called the tap to add. So there's 3 ways you can add properties. You can take a picture of the house. You can just touch your phone. And there's two versions of that. One of them is called the pin mode. The one's tap to add. So tap to add, I was adding 100 properties every single hour of driving. So I would drive through these suburbs, going, and I would identify any houses with physical signs of neglect. And I'm just tapping them on my phone, going as fast as I can. So what I was doing is I was driving middle of the day, and I was cold calling mornings and nights. And then once I had enough addresses added, I had even a 4-day stint that I never left the house. I cold called from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed. When I'm cooking breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I have my laptop open with my headphones in, and I'm cold calling while I'm cooking. So, I mean, it was driving and cold calling. Like, that's what I did. For 40 minutes.
No secrets, no nothing. It's just putting in the freaking work. And that separates those that succeed versus those that don't. Speaking about Deal Machine, if you guys go to billyalvaro.com, we have the link on there for Deal Machine. Beautiful. I think it gives you like certain credits and whatnot if you sign up through there. It's an app that my team uses. Zach uses it. It's an app that works. It will make you money if you want to drive for dollars. It identifies the person that owns a property. It will send out your marketing for you. It's not going to call the number for you. You have to do a little bit of work. But it's also going to identify if the house in foreclosure, if it's an estate, if somebody passed. Like, there's a lot of really good data behind the scenes that this app could utilize. Yeah. And Zach used it in his 40-day challenge. You went out, you did the cold calling, you started locking up deals. Talk now that we see how you went about finding the properties. Now let's go through the process. I don't want to talk about locking them up. How did you go about selling them when you didn't have a buyer's list in that particular area? What did that look like?
Yeah. So at the same time I'm driving and cold calling, what I did is I got 2 screens, right? I went and bought a second screen. So I have one screen on my computer cold calling. The other screen, I'm in Facebook groups scouring for cash buyers and trying to figure out who the wholesalers are in the area. Plus I had to find a title company that could do wholesaling. So I'm like scrambling at the same time because I was like, hey, as soon as I got a deal, I got to find a buyer. I got to get buyers for this thing. So what I ended up doing is I found a bunch of different wholesalers, and I called them up and I said, hey, do you want to grow your cash buyers list? I can double your buyers list. And if they have more buyers, they have higher, they make more per deal. And they said, sure. What do you mean? And I was like, well, how many buyers do you have on your list right now? Because I want to make sure I can double it for you. They'd be like, well, I got 2,000. It's like, all right, great. I'm going to count you in at 2,000. What I'm doing is I have a bunch of buyers that I'm trading between myself and a bunch of the other wholesalers in the area. My goal is to get the biggest, robust cash buyers list so we all make more money per deal. So I'll come back to you when I know I can double it. So then I got, let's say Bob, the wholesaler, in Tampa. And then I got, Steve, the wholesaler, and Samantha down in Bradenton, down south. But I got 5 wholesalers to trade cash buyers lists with me everywhere from Orlando, Tampa, north up towards Is it Bradenton? I don't even remember. It's like Inverness, Florida, and then down south. But anyways, I got over 11,000 cash buyers. And obviously, this is not all cash buyers, proven cash buyers. This is every investor-friendly agent. I mean, right. I got a lot of cash buyers.
Smart, quick. You built it up quick, man.
And in a couple of weeks, I did it.
Did you blast it out via text, email, phone call? Like, what did you do to sell it?
Just an email. Once I got a deal, I blasted it out. On the 40-day challenge, you'll see I actually blasted out a deal. I tried to send it out at 190 or something. I accidentally sent it out at 90,000. So imagine sending out a deal $100,000 too low, and 190 was already at a discount. Imagine sending 11,000 emails where you're 100 grand under. Dude, I wanted to kick myself in the head. I was so frustrated, dude. My phone, my email. Oh my gosh, dude. It was like, it ruined my day for sure.
Hysterical, brother. So you did the challenge. How long ago was the challenge done?
I did it last January, so not too long ago. Yeah, not too long ago.
Beautiful. And so did you write a book or no? That wasn't you.
No, I didn't write a book. Not yet.
Yeah. So tell us about where they can find the information on you and this 40-day challenge.
Yeah. So it's on my YouTube channel, right? You can go find me. You can search my name, Zack Boothe. It's, Driving for Dollars Mastery with Zack Boothe. Is the YouTube channel, but I have a quick link to make it easier just to catch that 40-day challenge if you guys want it. It's dfdmastery.com/40 and 40. So the number 40 and 40.
I love it, bro. All right. So you did the 40-day challenge, you ripped it, you killed it, you made this whole thing happen. You go back to Utah. You're now doing wholesaling in Utah, in the state of Utah?
Yep. I have a full team, and we're doing $1 million a year doing Driving for Dollars, by the way. I mean, this is not, most people see Driving for Dollars as just to find your first deal. I agree it's the best way to find your first deal, but it's also, I've never seen a better profit margin for the marketing system that we have in place. Right? It's how I can compete in such competitive markets.
Yeah, because Utah is freaking competitive. I have a lot of guys I know out there, man. It's a beast.
It's a beast out here.
You got some big players out in Utah.
Yeah. I mean, the funny thing is like, I'm a small fry here, right? At $1 million a year. One of my really good friends, Matt Oviatt, no one really knows about him. He's doing like $3 million a year, over 200 rentals. I just went hunting with him in Hawaii. Like, the guy's a complete stud. There's so many awesome people, and there's some good people here.
I'm really good friends with him.
Matt, are you? Yeah,
really
Matt isn't he such an incredible dude?
How much he's doing. He's double that.
Oh, he's a beast, dude. He's a beast. I don't even know how much he's making. He's making he's incredible.
You know what I love about the dude? He's humble. He doesn't brag at all. And
never.
He's the millionaire next door. Like, you'll never know what that guy's doing. He's just that type of dude. And he's a giver, man. He's a real good friend. He's a solid individual. Him and I were texting back and forth yesterday because I'll be seeing him at CG in next week when I go out there.
Nice.
Yeah. Good solid individual, man. You got yourself some good people around you. He's a good. He's somebody good to latch onto because he'll coach the shit out of you and get you to the next level for sure.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it's been really fun. We actually have a call booked with him today. We're going to help him a little bit with his social media, or hope to help him. So
good, man. Good. Yeah, tell him I said hello. So what's next for you, Zack? Like, what do you have on the horizon?
Right now, I love coaching. I love serving. I love helping people. I never had any intentions of having like the coaching business. I was just so grateful for wholesaling and for having Tom Kroll teach me how to do it and having a way to cherry pick rentals. And I want to be like Matt Oviatt, I want to be like, no one even knows how much money I have, and helping people and just being a good dude. But what happened is 3 years ago, I read a self-help journal that said, it helps you create 3 big goals. And one of the things this teaches in there is you have to give away whatever you want to receive. And so I had set a goal of $1 million that year. And that was like only 3 years of being in wholesaling. And I was like, well, how the heck am I going to do that? And it's like, and now I have to give away $1 million. And I was like, well, how am I supposed to do that? Let alone make it, And So I talked to my wife and I was like, why don't we just teach what I had learned with driving for dollars? I had done just shy of $500,000 a year before. Why don't we teach that to 10 people, easily put that money in their pockets? So of course I went to Tom Crow. I said, Tom, I want to make 10 people $1 million. And he's like, that's the greatest idea ever. Easy peasy. Let's do this. You know, Tom. And he's like, first rule is you can't coach for free. So you're going to pay me and I'm going to teach you how to coach. And I'm like, okay. So my students paid me and then I paid all the money to Tom to teach me how to teach them. So I basically coach for free, right? And I'm like, but I'm going to make them $1 million. And it blew my mind how much success my students had. And it blew my mind how much I learned and how many mistakes I had in my business. And I did $1.2 million that year. Changed my life. Right. And I fell in love with coaching, and Tom started coaching me to be a better coach. And I fell in love with that. And now I have this coaching business that's kind of a beast. I admit, I lost money for 2 years growing that stupid thing, but I love it. It's like my passion project. I hope to always coach at some capacity. I do 2 podcasts a week. I do 2 YouTube videos. I do how many TikToks are we doing, Daniel? We do 10 TikToks a week. We do Instagram reels. We're putting out all this free content. Yeah. I mean, I'm working my butt off. I'm working harder than I ever have, but I love it. Right. It's fun because I wake up in the morning and I know I'm making an impact. Like you do a real estate deal and you're like, oh sweet, I made $100,000, but it's like, you don't really help that many people. But when you help other people make $100,000, like, dude, you have your cake and you eat it too in life. It's pretty amazing.
Bro, you're full of energy, Zach. I'm glad we connected. I don't know how the hell you got on the show, who put you over to us to book you, man, but I'm glad you came on. We know a lot of the same people, and the 2 that you brought up, Tommy and Matt, just 2 wonderful, down-to-earth, genuine givers, and I could see that's why they resonate with you, because you seem to have the same value system, which is...
Oh, dude, I love those too. They're my tribe. They're my group, man. I love those guys.
All right, bro. Listen, stay in touch. This was great having you on. Again, one last plug. If people want to learn about your 40-day challenge, where do they go?
Yeah, dfdmastery.com/40 in 40.
Boom! Zack Boothe, knocking it out of the ballpark. Very proud of you, my man. Very, very good. I love having you on. I will see you next time. For everybody that's listening, you want to learn, you want to partner, you want to invest, go to BillyAlvaro.com. Check us out. We'll put your money to work so you no longer have to. Zach, take care, brother.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.